Alright, so we're back, and it's time to build the airframe. So in your, you should have a bunch of foam. If you got a kit from us, you have 10 triangles that look kind of like this. And we'll be using them to recreate the airframe. If you're fortunate enough to have a whole sheet of blue core fanfold, then you'll be cutting from there. But in any case, we'll assume that you're working with, someone shipped you a bunch of triangles. It won't make a difference. You can just sort of jump in later when we've got the basic material built together. Okay, so there's 10 of these triangles. You're only going to need 4 for the airframe. The 5th is going to go for the stabilizers, and then there's another 5 for enough foam for another complete airplane. All right, without further ado, take your foam, and you want to arrange it in such a way that you have the basic of the airplane. You can try to get the writing on the same side. It's a little bit of an origami project here, or anti-origami, I don't know, something like that. So this is how we're going to put it together. We're going to tape these together see them separated out apart like that, and we're going to tape together. So I'll show you my taping technique, which works super well and makes this all possible. So first thing I'm going to do is put my tape in a tape holder. I'm going to start trying to ship tape holders with our Brooklyn Aerodrome tape. We just can't find a cheap source yet. As soon as we do, we're going to start adding them in. It's really, I think, much easier to work with this stuff if you have a tape holder. And this is just from an old packing tape thing that I had laying around. So put it in there. There we go. It holds the tape. You don't have to sit there and wrestle with it to kind of get it loose, which is really a pain in the butt with packing tape. All right, so the first joint is going to be making a square. Clear, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you have figured out how this basically goes together. And I'll just go with a little bit, like a little section like this, just a couple inches, and put it on one edge, and then sort of get it seated down a little bit. And without joining the other side, what I want to do is hold this up a little bit, so that when I put it down, just give you an idea that that's up, that I will then have a tensioned joint when I put it down. And so now I've got a nice tight tape joint. All right, that is because I had it up and then I want it down. All right, do that on the other side. All right, same game. And a little bit of up. So I hold it up. Want it nice and tight. And down. So that's good. Now I don't need to do it anymore. I've got a tight joint, so I'm going to do the whole length of it. And unless it gets confused here, there we go. And just do the whole length. One fell swoop. So we've got a tight tape joint now, and we're going to flip it over and just do one swipe for the whole side. All right, so that's good. And we basically, that's got most of the strength of the original. It's really good. And the deck's going to be in here reinforcing anyway, so it won't matter. All right, so then we just clean it up a little bit with our box cutter on one edge, because this is where we're going to be adding more to it. Here we go, there and there. And I will add, well, we'll do all sides. All right, so we get there. And there. So, same technique. Put that there. 2 inches of tape. Clean it up a little bit. Get one side, then the other. And whack it down. Oops. Oh, that wasn't so good. See, what happened was I failed right there to maintain. It's actually not going to matter. My airplane's going to fit in there. All right, so there's a little jag there. I'd rather go ahead and fix that. So all you got to do to fix it is don't try to lift up the tape. Just cut it. Start over again. All right. So. And a little short section. So I'm going to make this the rear of the airplane. I like to have the elevons, you know, kind of that's where I kind of start. And so we do this half again, lift it up, lay it flat. There we go. Same thing over here. I don't not like this tape system. Well, better than having to fish the tape off. And then up again, tight, like the joint. And I'm just going to do the other one at the same time, so I only have to flip it over once. Just want to clean this up a little bit. At this point, you have figured out how we make tight tape joints. So I want to have this elevon be at the end, so I'm just trying to keep this line here straight, because I'm going to draw off of that as the basis of the elevons. There you go. And assuming the tape cooperates, it's not. Go for another little bit of tape here. Also, that's lined up well, up in the corner. Down we go. Up on the corner. And down we go. I don't worry about wrinkles at all with the tape. It just isn't going to matter. I'm trying to do a fancy plane. Start worrying about wrinkles a little bit, but we ain't doing fancy planes. We're doing flying planes right now, and learning how to fly planes in particular. So I just go with it. Alright. In there. Cleaning it up a little bit. Just trying to keep the tape from kind of folding in on itself and just kind of getting super ugly. And still have a slight perfectionist gene in me. Okay, again, not even going to bother trying to do anything on this side other than just take the joint as it is. Okay, there you have it. So that's an airframe. I'm going to clean it up just a tad. I don't know why I'm bothering. This is all going to get cut out. Alright. And one more here. Alright. So now we have before us the entirety of an airframe's worth of material, but we still need to cut out the airframe board on there. So out comes the ruler, and I'm going to take this rear edge, which I made a little bit of effort to keep straight when I put together the triangles, and I'm going to measure off of that in terms of the size of the airplane. So we'll refer over to the plans or whatever you're working from, and cut and measure thusly. All right. So the first thing from these plans as we look at them, we notice that we have, we need to find the middle of this thing. It is 42 inches is what we want to use, and I'm going to use this line here as the center of my airplane. So I'm going to want 21 inches on each side. So let's go ahead and mark it. So we have, let's get our center line established first. There she blows. Oh, at this point you can also decide what you want the top and the bottom of the airplane to be. I tend to have the top be with all the writing on it, and then the bottom is the opposite side, which has no writing on it, just because I think it looks a little better. And but I'll draw the plans on this side just so it's clearer. It doesn't matter which side you draw them on. All right, so here's the center line, and we're going to take this 21 inches out. And that is to there. And okay, 21 inches there. and 21 inches there. Okay, so notice we still have, this excess material. So we are, this is more foam than you strictly speaking need. Okay, so we're going to be trimming inside of this space. Then we want to measure 2 inches. That's 2. I'm going to measure 2 inches here. That's 2. 2 inches here. And well, might as well draw a line there. Oops. Just drew on the ruler instead of the foam. Okay. And here. And okay. Then we are 23 inches. It's 2 inches. Yeah, it's 23 inches to the nose. So we're going to measure from here. So there's 23 and 23. So the reason the airplane is dimensioned this way, they're kind of odd numbers, right? Is and we might as well make a center line on it. Is that we wanted to be able to make sure that we had, we could make 2 airframes out of a single sheet of 24 by 48 foam. And this was as big as we could make it, I think is the whole reason for this. All right, so at this point it's a little awkward because we have to do a long stretch here that's more than 24 inches. But you can just approximate it, just eyeball it. You'll figure it out. Just do a couple of test things like this. I just want to guess that that was going to be straight. It'll be a little off maybe, but we'll eventually converge on what the right one is. Or just get a logger ruler. And that looks pretty good right there. Yeah. There you go. So that's one. It's going to be one side. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just eyeballing about where I want it to go, where I think it should be. Just kind of looking at it, because I only have a 24-inch ruler. If you have a 12-inch ruler, it's going to be even harder. But it ain't going to be in the world. So you just put a little mark there and say, okay, how long does that line up with my guesstimation? And it lines up okay, maybe a little more out. And that'll be perfect. Okay, do that. But the easiest thing to do is just get a longer piece of something straight and do it. And I'll show you a trick. Just, anything laying around the straight will work. Okay. So we now have the basics of the outline of the airframe. We want to mark where the prop cutout is. And the prop cutout is 10 inches wide, and it is measuring off of the plans, it is 11 inches from the nose. So we have the nose that we have drawn in here, not this, but this. And we want to go 11 inches back. And the prop cutout pretty much defines the entire airplane. So, and this, by the way, is also 10 inches from this L-von line, L-von hinge line. We've done things perfectly. So that's a good way to put it out a little bit so that you can keep it perpendicular. None of this is super crucial. Just for those that like to build things super straight, this is the way to do it. So you're measuring 10 inches back from the L-von line, and then this is going to be a 10-inch prop cutout. So we want 5 inches on one side and 5 inches on the other. In a straight line. Oops. Like that. Marking clearly what things are. Okay, so this is sort of the definitional line on this airplane in terms of how the deck is going to be mated with this and how the servos are going to work with the elephants. So this line's important. Everything else, whatever. Doesn't really matter too much. This dimension is 2.5 inches here that we're cutting. Sorry, it's hard for me to get the camera in view. And 1, 2.5. Oops. Keep doing that. Okay. And then 1, 2.5. 1, 2.5. Okay. And that goes like that. And we have ourselves an airframe drawn out in all its glory. Sorry for the bad view. And then we will proceed. So, and all right, so now we're going to cut it out. Now you can use a ruler to cut it out, so if you're really going to be careful about it, you like a ruler like this, just like the Coroplast. This stuff cuts a lot easier than Coroplast. It's worth having a sharp blade, though. If you start to see, I don't know an example of it here, but what'll happen is when you get a dull blade, it'll start tearing in here, and it'll just start getting rough. So put it, make sure the blade is sharp. Otherwise, you kind of, it's just annoying and it's a waste of time. Just sharp is good. Okay, so you can use the ruler to cut if you want. I don't bother, and I encourage you to not bother. So what I do is just show you how I cut without me doing too many crazy yoga moves. Well, I'll show you the end of the cut. So this is a freehand cut. I just got myself a nice long length of it. I'm not using a lot of force, just making sure I'm getting through to the table below. Just keep going. Oops, you got any of that? I apologize. And but that's freehand. And here, freehand cut there. Come on, you can focus. Yes, you can. There you go. And I'll try to get this cut so you can see it. It's just hard. Okay, there we go. Maybe. I'm actually cutting this looking through the viewfinder, so that's, sorry, I got off track there a little bit. Doesn't matter. It's not super crucial, guys. Oops. Got a little jag in there. It'll fly fine. Again, everybody, it'll fly fine. Okay, so prop cut out, I'm going to go ahead and take care of, and that's just a quick little couple of swipes here. And out it goes. Alrighty, so we got everything we need to know about on there. Alright, so we now do need to decide what the top and the bottom of this airplane is. So the next cut is kind of crucial. This is nice if this is done straight, clean, and in the right way. I'm going to designate this as the top of the airplane. No, I want this to be the top of the airplane. No, I'm going to do this just because I want you to have a clean build. So this is the top of the airplane, so I can do this. I'm going to write top on it. And I know it sounds stupid, but I've seen people build them the other way around where the top is on the bottom. Because of this hinge line that we're about to make, it really screws up the control surfaces. So write top on this thing so that you know what the top is. Once you attach the deck, it'll be clear what the top is. We are going to do a diagonal cut on this Elvon line that we just drew in that's 2 inches back. And the way this works is you want to take a ruler for this. I don't do this freehand. So this is one of the precise things, maybe almost the only precise thing. There's a couple more. I keep saying there's no precise things, but I'm lying to you. So I insert it at an angle, and you got to look at the book chapter to see good shots of this. But I'm not going. This is perpendicular. Okay, if I was going to cut it perpendicular like I've been cutting the whole time, it would look like that. And this is cutting it at an angle. And it's about 30-degree angle, just a little bit. Doesn't need to be huge. We just want to be able to make a hinge line here. And so, and I'm going to keep it consistent and straight the entire length of this Elvon line because we're going to get a hinge out of this. We go all the way through. This is a cut all the way through. That's perpendicular. I roll it over, get me some angle, nice sharp blade, right? And we go. I am cutting. Notice that I am moving myself down the wing as I cut. I want to be cutting, around my belly or before it. I don't want to be in awkward hand positions, which makes it hard to cut accurately. So I keep moving down and keep moving my hand, making sure everything's right. I'm keeping my thumb out of the blade. Don't be chopping the end of the thumb off, and just go slow and easy. All right. I'm maintaining the same angle the whole way. All right, I got halfway there, and I'm running out of ruler. Doesn't matter. Keep the knife stuck there. Here, maybe you can get a better view of what the angle looks like. It is, there you go. That's the angle. It's not a huge amount of angle. Here, I'll get a little more vertical. There you go. So that is the angle I'm cutting at, right there. All right. And I line it back up, get to the end of the L-bond, and continue. All right, so we go. Yeah, almost got the thumb there. Just going slow, going easy. Get a nice sharp blade. Liking that fact a lot. Okay, so we made that cut. And this should separate if I've done a good job, which I have sort of done. Well, a little bit of the tape didn't get cut here. All right, so I still have a little bit of an attachment, but it's okay. Just go through and just fix it. Just with a little bit of help. Don't get all crazy and recut or anything like that. You know, I'm just gonna flip it over and just get that edge. Just kind of help it along. Okay, there we go. Got that loose. Ooh, missed a little bit over here. It's okay. Just a little touch. Oops. Oh, yeah, lost a little foam there. Not the end of the world. And I got a little more stuck here. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, sorry, if I'd done that cut perfectly, we would find ourselves in the position of, oh, I've just done the world's most studly cut, and they just goes apart like that. Okay, so I had to fix it, but this is where we were cutting before. All right. Next step, flip this over so that you have the bottom. All right, and we are about to make the hinge. And the hinge we want to have strong, straight, and tight. It's just really nice to get this right. So the way you make a strong, straight, and tight hinge is you you take the butt joint of those two angles that we just made with that beveled cut, and you just hold it tight, and you hold them together like this with just a little bit of tape right there. And then I'm going to do it in the middle too. Same game. Get it in there nice and tight. I'm just going to do 1/2 because this has gotten just a little bit wavy. So I'm just going to do half of it. I'm just up to there. And then I'm going to start over. Notice that this is sticking out a little bit. All right. I don't care about that. I'm going to just get this one pushed back in to where it needs to be. There's a little gap there, but I'm going to get rid of it. And then I'm going to finish because I want this gap to be very nice and tight. All right. So finish it out. Got a little bit of tape there. Push it in. Right there. And then, see, there's a little gap there. I'm going to push it in there too. All right. And then I'm going to run a piece of tape down the whole thing. You do this as pieces of tape. I just tend to do it as one. Remember, wrinkles are not going to matter. This airplane's going to be wrinkly so fast. You have no idea. All right. There we go. And what we have created here is an L-bond hinge. That's it, going up and down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Oops, let me clean that up so you really see it well. Take that little bit of tape that was occluding out of the picture. Alright, so there it is. Up, down. So the reason we did the bevel is so that we can get up. Alright, and there's that. We do not tape the other side. It just makes things stiff, and the airframes don't last that long anyway.